Today I'm going to show you how to make pastele. So the first thing that we're going to do is start off with the meat. I have 6.5 pounds of pork shoulder here, and the first thing I'm going to do is trim off the fat, and then I'm going to cut it into cubes that are going to be about 1 by 1 or so. Notice that I'm using long slices to slice my meat. That keeps it pretty. Once you get that cut up, set it to the side and go over to your pot and add about 2 tablespoons of achiote oil. And to that, I'm also going to add 6 cups of sofrito. And if you don't have my sofrito recipe, you can get it from this link right there. And there's one of the pieces of my meat, so you can kind of get an idea of the size. And then I'm just going to add the rest to the pot, and I'm going to sprinkle 2 tablespoons of kosher salt right on top of that, along with about a teaspoon of black pepper. If you would like to do this in smaller batches so that you can get some browning on the meat, then go for it, but in the interest of time I'm not going to do that, but small batches will get you the browner meat. Next, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of capers along with 45 chopped olives, and keep in mind here this recipe does make 60 pasteles, so it's quite a big recipe. Next, I'm going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of oregano, depending on how much you love it, and 2 bay leaves. And then I'm going to add about 32 ounces of veggie stock. You just want to make sure that the meat is basically covered. Next, 1/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of currants, and these add a little bit of sweetness, so if you don't want the sweetness, don't add them. Simmer for 2.5 hours, and then the next thing that I'm going to add is 2 large diced potatoes. You could also add chickpeas here if you want to. My mother-in-law likes the potatoes, my father-in-law likes the chickpeas, your choice. Then add 1 tablespoon of salt. I'm going to let these cook for about 20 more minutes and then add a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce. Stir that around and put it over to the side. I am going to be using this cooking liquid in my masa, and I'm also going to cool this filling overnight in my refrigerator. So I like to make my filling and my masa the day before. When I get it out of my fridge tomorrow, this is what it's going to look like. So now let's move on to the masa. Masa can be made with a lot of different ingredients, including calabaza, yautía, yuca, taro root, green bananas, green plantains, potatoes, and I'm sure some other stuff too. I'm going to give you the measurements of what I use, but feel free to mix and match these ingredients until you have your own unique blend of masa. What's important here is to have 15 pounds total because we are making 60 pasteles. The kabocha squash you see here is a substitute for my calabaza because I can't get calabaza where I live. Okay, so I'm starting off here with 4.5 pounds of taro root. You're just going to trim off both ends of it and then cut it into a manageable size and just peel down the sides of it. You can use a veggie peeler or a knife, whatever you're more comfortable with. Moving right along to the plantain, simply slice off each end of it, give it a nice slit down the middle, peel it, and then trim off any yucky spots. And I'm using 3 pounds of green plantains here, just so you know. The next thing I'm going to be using is the kabocha squash, which again is a substitute for the calabaza, which if I could have gotten, I would have gotten, but I can't. Also, I want to mention here that calabaza is not just pumpkin, it's a tropical pumpkin, also known as a West Indian pumpkin. So I just want to let you know that it's not just any old pumpkin. Also, they are a bit of a challenge to cut up, so I have a separate video if you need to know how to cut those up. You can click on that link right there. The next thing that I'm going to be using is 2.5 pounds of yuca, and yuca does have a root that runs right down the middle of it, and if you don't know how to take that out easily, again, there's a video right there for you. You can just click on that link. Now it's time to start shredding our masa up. So if you want to do this on a box grater, you're going to use the smallest holes on the box grater, but if you have a food processor, do it in your food processor on the larger holes, so you're going to have the larger shred, because then we're going to do it again with just the blade inside the food processor. So once you have everything shredded up, if you are doing it in your food processor, change to your regular blade and add some of those shreds in there. And this is when we're going to start using our liquids. You may need to adjust the amount of liquid that you use according to how ripe your masa ingredients are. So mine are kind of a guideline. You need to check the texture and use your judgment. So I'm going to end up using about 32 ounces of the cooking liquid from my filling, and as you can see, I'm doing this in small batches. I'm adding just a little bit at a time, and then I'm adding in my different liquids, and I am using more than just the cooking liquid, but right now that is what I'm adding in. So once I'm happy with the amount of cooking liquid that I've used, I'm going to switch over to coconut milk. and I'm going to add in about 14 ounces of coconut milk, and I'm also going to be adding in a 1/4 cup of the achiote oil, and I am also adding in 1 cup of regular milk and 1 tablespoon of salt. So just do this in small batches until you have all of your shreds ground down and until you have your liquids in there that you want. Wrap your masa tightly and put it in the refrigerator overnight, and it should look like this the next day when you get it out. And now here's a video to show you how to wrap your pasteles.
Best bites forever.
Hey everyone, it's Chef Alicia, and today I'm going to show you how to wrap pasteles. So the first thing that you need to do is get your banana leaves ready. We buy these frozen and just let them thaw out a little bit, and then take your scissors and cut right down the folds where they're already folded inside of the package. Now if you want to, you can get out your ruler and you can be very meticulous about this and measure each one, but I don't do that, and this saves a lot of time. So just go ahead and cut them this way. You may have to trim the bottoms off of some, but don't do that until after you heat them up, which we will talk about in a minute. So the next thing I do is I set up my wrapping station. Here I have 2 cutting boards, our banana leaves, my masa, my filling, and I also have my flat top so that I can heat the leaves up. To heat the leaves up, I have my flat top set on 250 degrees. And the reason that you do this is it makes them a lot easier to work with. They become more pliable, and also they don't tear as easily, and the wax kind of comes out and keeps your pasteles from leaking. So the next thing I have is a string on my cutting board, and it's in a U shape. And I'm just going to lay my banana leaf right on top of that. Next, a spoon of the masa, and I kind of put a little spoon print in it with my spoon to hold the filling just a little bit better. And then put a nice sized spoon of filling right in the middle of that, and now we're going to roll it. So put your fingers kind of in the middle, fold it right over, and then pull back on it so that all of that masa squishes together. Next, fold the ends up, and then you're going to flip it right over and put those folded ends right on top of the string. Next, fold over the U, and then the loose ends of the string, you just kind of tuck them right under and then pull them taut. Next, we're going to flip that guy over and cross the string in the middle again, and then flip him over again, and I'm going to do a nice neat little double knot right in the center, and this is going to hold it together while I cook it. So the next thing that we're going to do is cook it, and this is really easy. I do this by boiling it in a pot of water for about an hour and 10 minutes or so. Pull one out and check it, and then we're going to pull them out, and this is what they're going to look like when they're all cooked. Hopefully when you unwrap it, you're going to have something that looks all yummy and delicious like this. I'm going to eat one of these. I'm excited. Okay, so now let's cut this guy open and check out what we have on the inside. Very delicious, yummy bite. And let's check out just one more little bite going on here. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so good. So as you can see, there's plenty of filling. This guy is going to be delicious. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and happy cooking.